So it's funds that you say, it's a savings that you set aside for unexpected expenses, rare occurrences, is what you could also call it. Is the savings that you set aside, for those rare occurrences, and it has to be rare occurrences, and when I say rare occurrences, again, you can define it by yourself, what you want to term unexpected expenses. And I'll tell you, you remember the year that R. Kelly came to town, and someone argued with me that was an emergency because it's rare. He's not going to come next month. He's not going to come next year. So he needs to break that savings, to be able to attend the show. So I would say that you need to, it's not every unexpected expenses that you term emergencies, or you relate to your emergency fund, because if care is not taken, you're going to wound down, that savings if you eventually put one together. So you need to define what they are. Common examples could be job loss, could be decline in income earning, could be medical issues, medical bills. It could be breakdown of your car. It could be at home, maybe the roof of the house is leaking. Things that happen and you need to fix immediately, but they don't happen frequently. Those are what you need to define and highlight, as your unexpected expenses, and you relate it to your emergency fund if you eventually set one up. And I'll also like to say that, in wealth management, you plan for different kind of goals, right? You plan for your short term, your medium term, your long term goal, your children's school fees, the house you want to buy, you want to change your car, you want to start your business. You plan for different kind of things. You plan for vacation and all of that. But the emergency fund is one of the goals that is the first thing that you need to set up before you begin to plan for those other goals. Because one of the things that it will do for you is to ensure that you don't disrupt other goals that you're planning for. That's one of the key things that it will do for you. So it's the first thing that you need to set up.
Okay. How do you know how much you're going to put there?
Okay, so that's an interesting question. Now, first of all, you need to be clear on where you stand today on the financial life cycle. So if it's for you as an individual, right? So you look at yourself, you look at it in these three different categories. You as an individual, in paid employment, you have a stable income, or you as a family man with wife and children, and you have a stable income, or you as a freelancer or an employee and an employer, right? So you look at those three different categories. The first one, you as an individual with a stable income, the findings, or the research around it, or the study shows that if you as an individual, you need to save 3 months worth of your living expenses, right? Minimum 3 to 6 months worth of your living expenses as an individual. Now, the second category that we defined, the wife is involved, the children are involved. You need to then double whatever position you've taken as an individual, right? Whether it's 3 months or 6 months, you need to double it. So what that tells you is that you're then targeting between 6 to about 1 year, right? And then as a freelancer, an employer, you need to multiply it by 3, whatever position you've taken as an individual. So if it's 3 to 6 months still, then you're looking at 9 months to 1 year as well, as an employer. So that's worth of your living expenses.
I'd like us to break down those living expenses, but before we go there, just let me say that you can be a part of the show, and if you have any questions you would like to ask concerning today's topic, please send those questions in to us. Any other contributions via WhatsApp on 0704 1001 973. The number again is 0704 1001 973. So living expenses, what, rent, for instance?
Yeah. So that then speaks to you applying your budgeting tool. you know, to be able to identify what your living expenses are.
Yes.
Now, it could be the sum total of your fixed expenses and your variable expenses that comes out of your budgeting tool, right? So variable is where you then need to make some provisions for maybe additional 20%, depending on the line item and all that. Fixed is you have a fixed amount that you spend every month, right? So living expenses could be groceries, it could be transportation, right? Maybe you're buying fuel in the car, or you're taking buses, you're, you know, moving around. So those things that you spend money on, I don't want to mention entertainment, this is something you can take out of it, but again, if it's one of the things that you spend money on, but groceries, yes. Transportation, yes.
Isn't pretty much the things you prioritize. For some people, that's really important. That, for instance, some people, I know people who don't leave every day after work, who work on the island, live on the mainland, they must go to a particular place after work to kill a couple of hours because of traffic.
Yeah.
Have maybe a beer.
So that's the entertainment bit, you know,
Yes.
which is variable.
Yes.
You know, which is variable. But yes, I mean, you have people that do that. But again, if you the category of income earners that you usually advocate for, the low income earners.
Yes.
Now, for those kind of people, they might
Like
need to they might need to strip out, you know, certain items that, you know, they expend money on, you know, to be able to build this emergency fund, because it's critical.
Yes.
You know, so they might need to strip out certain items. So entertainment might be one of those areas, you know, that they might want to cut back on, you know, to be able to build it very quickly. And when you're building it as well, having identified the category of person that you are, you need to set that goal to know the exact amount. Having defined what your living expenses are, you need to set the goal to know the exact amount that you then want to put together to be able to meet up, to be able to build this emergency fund. You know, you don't have to put in a lump sum at a time. You know, you can save in bits, but you have a target, you know, of how much is meant to be. So if your worth of your living expenses monthly is 100,000 naira, for instance, then 3 months will come to 300,000 naira.
Yes.
So you then need to build that 300,000 naira. Once you hit that target, then you can beat your chest and say, hey, I've built my emergency fund and I have an emergency fund in place, and then you can begin to look at other things that you then want to do.
Now, is this applicable no matter your level financially?
It's essential to every category, whether you're a high income earner, you're a low income earner. I mean, life happens, you know, and it can happen at any time. To anyone. So you just need to be ready for it, you know, to be able to see yourself through, you know, those trying times, you know. And why it's put at 3 to 6 months at the minimum is because for you to be able to get yourself together to the point where you want, it usually takes between that 3 to 6 months. You know?
That in that time you don't just totally go under.
Yeah. You know, you don't get depressed.
Yes. Okay. Are there products that can be used for this?
Yeah. So some people use savings accounts, traditional savings accounts in the bank. Some people use high yield savings accounts, which the bank also offers, and some people use the money market fund, which is offered by investment companies. But I would always recommend the money market fund, and I'll tell you why. It preserves your capital 100%, just like your traditional savings account. It pays a decent income, way higher than the traditional savings account will do. Imagine today, on as low as 1,000 naira, you're earning an effective yield of about 17% thereabouts on a money market fund. You know, and the more you earn, you know, the better your power of compounding. Now, power of compounding is if you're not taking your interest and you're earning interest on interest.
Yes.
Remember that this money is the money that you're going to leave somewhere for some time, because what you're putting the money together for occurrences that don't happen frequently. So the money is going to be there for a while. So you need to ensure that the money is also working hard, you know, for you. So so while the money is there, while it's earning interest, it then it's then expected that you also enjoy that power of compounding, so that you're earning interest on interest, and it's taking you and it's going faster. So it's not just an idle fund that will be there. Another reason I would recommend the money market fund is that it doesn't have a debit card. So that temptation of you just swiping your card, to say you want to go and you don't want to, there's traffic on Third Mainland, you want to go and hang out somewhere. I mean, that temptation is not there.
Yes.
And if you want to make withdrawal from the money market fund, it takes between an hour to 48 hours, depending on the system and whatever is going on. And within that period, I believe that if it's an impulse action, right, you would have been discouraged. You probably would have gotten yourself together to say, hey, I really don't need this fund. Let me just let me leave it there and move on to other things. So I would always recommend the money market fund.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
I would always recommend the money market fund.
Okay, we have a question here. I want to ask how much of my pension account balance I can take when I attain 50 years old. I'm not sure how that's relevant, but we did mention pension at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, we did. I mean, I don't know what the retirement, I can't remember what the retirement age is.
Retirement age now is 65, isn't it?
So you can't access it until you attain retirement, or
No, I think there's something about plus 50.
For the pension.
If you're over 50 and out of work, I think there's some.
If you're out of work, yes.
Yes,
if you're out of work and you've spent about 3 to 4 months without another job, then you can access a certain percentage of it. That I know. But 50 years in terms of retirement age, I do not have that information.
All right. Okay. I knew this sort of question was going to come. It says, how can someone with a 300k salary level up with feeding, house rent, and planning to get married? Like, how much can one be saving as emergency money from it? It's a good question. But so how do you? What would you say?
I mean, my answer is simple. Money will never be enough. Whether it's 300,000, whether it's 100,000, whether it's 50,000, it will never be enough. What you do with the money is what is important. It's not how much you earn that is important. So you have to, whether it's a mindset thing. Out of that 300,000, you'll see some people that are religious and faithful enough to pay in tithe, at the end of every month, which is 30k, and they survive on 270, right? So if you take another step further and you pay yourself 10,000 naira, and you pay yourself another 10%, not 10,000 naira, another 10%, which is 30,000 naira, and you have 240 left on you, you will survive. It's the same mindset. You will definitely survive. I used to know someone that was working in the bank before the tsunami that happened in the bank in 2008. At the time, he was earning about 450,000 naira a month. He didn't save a penny. I mean, his excuse was that things are tight, his income is small, and all that. But when the tsunami happened, it was hit, right? And the next job he found was paying him 150. That was a family man. At the time it was 450, was a family man. At the time it was 150, was still a family man, and he survived. So it's a mindset thing. Regardless of how much you earn, I think following the principles is what is key, and you'll always survive. You just need to apply that discipline, and stay focused, and focused on your goals, and I think that's it.
Well, all right. If you'd like to add a question in, it's 0704 1001 973. That's 0704 1001 973. So the money market fund itself, let's talk to us about it. How does that work?
So it's a mutual fund that is set up to preserve capital. It invests in money market instruments. Money market instruments are instruments that naturally they preserve capital, right? And a mutual fund is a fund that is designed for as many investors as possible with the same objective. So if the objective, for instance, of those investors is to preserve their capital, right? They don't need to know each other. You know,
Yeah.
Chico wants to go on vacation in 6 months' time. That capital is important to him. He wants to keep it somewhere where the money would work. I want to pay house rent. You know, maybe in 3 months' time, I need to keep my money somewhere. You know, and we all come together and then we put the money in a basket
Yes.
called the money market fund. Now that money goes to a fund manager, right? And the fund manager invests the money in money market instruments, right? These are treasury bills. These are treasury bills, commercial bankers acceptance. You know, instruments that they are short-term instruments as well,
Yes.
but they've been structured in such a way that they preserve your capital. So the fund manager invests in those instruments, make returns, which is then passed back to the investors.
Yes.
So, but I think what is interesting is that it preserves your capital 100%, pays you daily income actually, not even in a month or in 2 months. It pays you daily. So
Yes.
on the mobile app, you know, that some of these institutions have provided, you'll be able to view what is happening to your money, you know, on the mobile app, and see how your money is improving, you know, by the day. And then you can add money to it anytime. You can make withdrawals anytime. But it's just important that you have a goal, you know, while you're investing, so that you can allow the money to work for you and work hard for you, so that you can really benefit from the returns.
So there you have it. That's the money market mutual funds are offered by the investment
Asset management companies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is Wealth Management and You here on Classic FM 97.3, where when we've been talking about the emergency fund. Do you have one? Do you have questions about one? I'd like you to speak a little bit more on this issue of because there's always this thing where people are thinking that either to use a product like a mutual funds or joining the money market, that you need to have a certain level of affluence, or that has nothing to do with it.
It has nothing to building wealth. Generally, has nothing to do with what you're earning currently. I think the ultimate thing is the journey. You need to understand that it's a journey. Building wealth is a journey, and the destination is actually to be financially independent.
Yes.
And how you can conveniently arrive at that destination is when you begin to plan for all the goals that you have for yourself along the financial life cycle. So whatever you're earning is not really a determinant of how you build the wealth. Is your focus, your discipline, and your understanding that.
But it does have an impact, Rafa. You can't.
It's Chico. It's a mindset thing. You know, it's a mindset thing. I have someone that earns. You just mentioned somebody that sent us a message about 300,000.
Yes.
It is what you do with that money that is important. Some people don't have budgeting tool today, and they can't tell you what they've done with 20,000 naira every month.
What's a budgeting tool?
So it's like having a budget, you know, building a budget where you take notes of how much you spend, you know, and how much comes in for you. Is building that platform. You know, it could be a piece of paper.
Yes.
Just for you to take notes. How much have I received as salary? How much have I received as house rent?
Yes.
How much is my total income?
Yes.
And how much am I spending? Where are you spending this money? Where are they going to? You see somebody that will tell you, hey, Chico, it's just 100 naira, don't worry about it, let's go. 100 naira times 10 is what makes up 1,000 naira.
That's right.
1,000 naira times 10 is what makes up 10,000 naira.
That's right.
So it's not really about what you earn, it's what you're doing with every kobo that is important. You know, that's really what I want people to have. You know, So I think the question I would leave with Lagosians today is, how long can your savings last? Should there be a job loss? Should there be a decline in income? You know, I think you need to ask yourself that question. How long? Your current savings, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 1 year,
a day.
and then you can watch, you know, Chico and I on my YouTube channel at Raphael Emeonu. all the episodes. If you've missed any of our episodes, you can find the videos on our YouTube channel.
All right. A couple of questions have come in, but it's a bit late. I will read them, but we won't be able to treat them. It says, hi, thank you for this session on wealth management. It's truly insightful and necessary in these times. My question is about calculating living expenses. I've heard of the 30-20 50 rule.
20.
Can you share more on this, and are there other techniques you can talk about? That's the one. Good PM, please can your guest speak on using insurance for the emergency fund? These are, I suppose, a one-liner in answering the two before we go.
Okay, so the 50-30-20 rule of budgeting. So 50 is for you to address your needs, 30 is for you to address your wants, which are the variable expenses, and then 20% is to save. So if you channel your effort to saving that 20%, and then take a critical look at that 30% that goes into variable expenses, I'm sure there are other items that you'll be willing to cut back on or take out completely, so that you can increase that 20% that goes into saving, so that you can channel a lot more to saving into your emergency fund and building other goals very quickly. So that's my response to the first question. In terms of insurance, in wealth management, my understanding of insurance is that it's suitable for protection, and that's really the principal rule of insurance in wealth management. It's suitable for protection. For building your emergency fund, you might, if you believe in it, you can have some funds in certain insurance products that are not long-term, but it's just ideal that you have your emergency fund in a product where you can have quick access to if the emergency occurs.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for on today's edition of Wealth Management and You. It comes your way at 5:30 every Monday on Classic FM 97.3. We look forward to you joining us next Monday for another edition of the show. Thanks for coming through again, Rafa.
Thanks, Chico, for having me.